Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe where we help and heal one day at a time. We're going to talk about the emotional availability of a narcissist. So we've always been told, don't get into a relationship with a married person. They're just emotionally unavailable, and there's a reason for that. They're caught up doing their own thing. Let's say it's pretty much a happy marriage, but we try to weasel our way in there. They're never going to give us the right kind of attention. They might give us some, but some people are emotionally unavailable in a marriage and even when they're single. And I'll tell you what I mean. The narcissist is kind of like that person in a marriage. They're already caught up in that love. So any outside intruder might get some attention, physical, conversational. They'll get some attention, but they're not going to pull away from that love if it's a true love. They shouldn't be cheating, but let's say they did. So they're not emotionally available. They're not going to leave their wife or husband. So the narcissist, they're emotionally unavailable because they're married to themselves. They have created this image of needing this love, self love. So they create this thing of this image that they think would be loved. But it's a false love. So they remain empty inside. And when I was younger, I broke my leg during cheerleading tryouts. And my dad had told me, so of course I didn't get on the team. So my dad's like, well, you're a cheerleader in my eyes. And I mean, that's great. Like my dad was trying to help, but it didn't mean anything. Like, thanks, Dad. I can have this false image that I'm a cheerleader. Uh, it's not true. I'm not going to feel good about it. I can lie to myself. So he was trying to be kind, but that's like with the narcissist. Just like me being this fake cheerleader, this narcissist has this fake image of who they are. So deep inside, they can go around saying, how great they are. I can go around saying I'm a cheerleader. It doesn't matter. It's kind of like a coping mechanism, but deep inside, it doesn't matter. And so they're emotionally unavailable because they're married to themselves. So any intruder might get a little attention, but they're not going to get the love. And it's kind of interesting, like they will treat us like they hate us sometimes. And that's their act of love because that's what they're doing to themselves. That's the type of love that they understand, that everything's fake and that the pain that they feel, they hate. That's the emotion that is the strongest for them, is like a self-loathing or anger. Our strongest emotion is love. So we crave it. We are comfortable around it. We want more of it. Their comfort level is different. So when we try to break that barrier of the emotional availability to connect with them, we will never get to that point because for one thing, we're never going to know them. So we're in love with a false image. The way they treat us will be inconsistent. They'll start to devalue us over time. And usually the relationships don't grow. If they do grow here and there, it's because of the love bombing, which they're purchasing us. They're investing just a little bit more to get what they want, not to lose what they want, not because they hurt us, because they know the tricks of the trade. They know how to trap us. They know how to make us codependent or isolate us. They overtake situations. We have no control in our lives. And the availability of their emotions is behind a wall that they call it a mask. They won't they won't take down that fortress because they are protecting what is inside. They already have so much pain that they're too scared to open up to love, because if you love someone, that love could go away whether the person dies or leaves or something goes wrong in the relationship, that they're already filled to capacity on the amount of pain that they can take. And they don't self-reflect, because that adds even just a smidge of pain, to realize who they are, to realize the way that they treat people, to realize that they don't have enough confidence to say this is who I am, or this is how I really feel, or that hurt me. They'll get pissed, They'll go into rages, or they'll go into silent treatment depending on their coping mechanism. But as far as them opening themselves up, because you have to become vulnerable when you're in a relationship. You have to tell your true thoughts and feelings. Otherwise, you're not going to have a connection. Everything's going to be fake. So you can sit there and have these great conversations with them, but you don't connect. So you talk about, how wonderful Hawaii is. You talk about this, you talk about that. Great conversation. It's energetic and oh my gosh, you did that, I did that too. But it's conversation, it's not connection. So the longer you go through these relationships with the narcissist, you're going to feel like this connection that I thought we had wasn't real. Because all of a sudden you're like, wait, I thought we talked about that and you loved it. And we had this great conversation over it. Now you're telling me you don't like that at all. So we get confused. And was that great conversation full of nothing? We think we're connecting with them. So that connection gets taken from us. It also makes us confused. We start to question our reality, our sanity. Like, we did have that conversation. Often you'll even ask them, like, I thought you said, and they're like, no, I would never say that. And so then it questions our reality. So our lives become turned upside down. The narcissist is married to themselves. They love themselves, but it's a hate type of love, if that makes sense, because you can't love something, or you can't hate something that you don't love. Like, to truly hate something, you had to have loved it at some time, because you can be disgusted by things, or not like things. But to truly love something, or to truly hate something, there's got to be a little bit of love as far as the person. Otherwise, you can't hate without love. There's a connection. So they try to love themselves, but they hate themselves so much. So when they act out on us, or act like they're disgusted by us, or hate us, that's their love language. They don't know how to express what they're feeling inside. The emotion they connect with is usually negative. So they crave being happy. They crave it just like we do. But they can only get it at they feel like they have to convince everybody that they're worthy to spend time with. They have to make these facades, and pretend who they are, that they have more self-worth than they actually do, because they want us to adore them. Like, they need that. And the most confusing part is they're getting that love. They get a lot of love. But when they get it, it scares them. It makes them uncomfortable. Just like we get uncomfortable with hate, that's their comfort zone. Like, we get real uncomfortable with that. We get real uncomfortable with anger. But that's what they're used to. That's just a different comfort zone. And they won't open up enough to let us in. The only person that they deal with is themselves. That's why they're so self-absorbed. It's kind of like, if you're starving, and you don't have kids, but you're starving, and it's kind of like you don't think about the outside world sometimes. You got to feed yourself. And then if there's enough to share, you'll share. But a lot of times they're in survival mode, that they don't even see the other people that need to eat, the other people that need to be loved. They just see what they need. And they're in such a starvation that it's like do or die. Like, I cannot go another day being this hungry. And every day is like that for them. Every day they need to feed their soul. But they take it from other people. They take it from other people. They are needing love. As soon as they get it, it kind of like the oil and water don't mix. Kind of like love and hate. They don't mix. They don't mix together well. It's usually one or the other. Uh, if you mix them up, it's still not a good situation. It might get better, but they're trying to stir it, and it's not making sense to them, and there's still so much hate in that mixture that they're like, why bother adding more? You know, once you add coloring to white, it's never going to be pure white again. And that's like with their emotions, it's never going to be pure again. It's always going to have that discoloration. And why even bother? They want this pure white relationship full of love and happiness and comfort, but they give up. So if they go to counseling, it's not going to be effective. They're going to see that, some progress is made, but they still have to deal with stuff that they don't want to deal with. They are in that starvation mode where they only want to deal with themselves. They are unavailable to share because they are in that starvation mode to where they can't share any little bit of love that they get, that they can't give it away. They can't give some back because in their minds they're losing love instead of building love. And when they do build that love, it freaks them out. They hate connections with people at a deep level. They are unavailable for that. They can have great conversations. They need to keep it superficial because that's where they're at. They're that fake cheerleader. It's superficial. It's BS. It's not real. Once it gets real, you know, they can't perform. Just like me doing a cheer right now. It's like, I thought you were a cheerleader. It's like, oh, I didn't put the effort in. It's just like them. They didn't put the effort into the relationship. They're not a true lover. They're just somebody who slept next to you. And whether they're married, single, looking, they're unavailable. And the saddest part is when they are in a relationship, they are married to someone. It's never enough. It is never enough. They will try. That's why some of them, don't cheat all the time. Some might intermittently let it slip just because they were at a low. And a lot of times it's not even like, that they're falling in love with somebody else. It's just like a quick fix because they're going through emotions and the withdrawal. They go through a withdrawal just like we do. We're going through that love bombing withdrawal, the loss of a relationship. A lot of times they say that we fell in love with potential. There was potential. There definitely was. You guys are not wrong for feeling that. But I take it in a different way. That bothers me when people say you just fell in love with potential. Yeah, we could, buy a house together. But no, I fell in love with that person. I don't care what anybody says. I fell in love with that person. I saw through the crap. He's getting married now. All the dirty laundry is out. We're able to have a little bit better conversations, but I still love him. And the potential could have still been there if we would have worked at it, but the emotional level was different. But just like if I had a child that had no capabilities, I don't know, brain dead, okay, but still alive, like I could still love that child. I would still love that child. So I take it in a different way. When they say that you fell in love with potential, I love a little bit differently then because I see the good, I see the bad. I don't look at everything has to be right and perfect for me to love someone. I don't love to get back. To me, love is something that happens. Just you had a blessing that came into your life, just like my daughter. If she was a boy, a girl, straight or gay or happy or angry, easy to handle, difficult, disabled, able-bodied, I'd still love her. Like that was my gift, and I'm going to take care of it. And that's what I felt with my ex. But unfortunately, they're able to just move on, to lie to us. They're not able to think about what their actions do to us. They'll continue promising things with no intent, no self reflection on what they're doing is wrong, no care for how it affects the other person. Their emotional availability is to themselves and themselves only. And even talking to him now with his new supply and what's going on, I'm seeing some red flags. They seem happy, but I already see red flags. So if you're wondering about the new supply, there's already red flags. For one thing, we're still talking. And nothing will ever be enough. Nothing. And even themselves, they can't love the right way. They don't they don't take care of the people around them. They're gonna destroy this beautiful group of people that want to be there for them. And like my ex had said, everybody knows it's all about me. And to go through your friendships and your family members with that cocky of an attitude, like, to me, that's mind blowing. That they can't even see the value in their kids. I mean, they like the kids, but the true value that they're worth more than they need to see I'm top dog, to where there's some equalness. So kids are under us generationally, but even his parents or his siblings, everybody knows it's all about this one person. One person in this entire world is seen as the most important person in the world. He's not president. There's cool things about him. There's definitely cool things, but there's cool things about a lot of people. So be careful. Like I said, that's why we're told not to, be with people in different relationships, because they're already emotionally unavailable. But if you're in a marriage with a narcissist, they're not emotionally available to you. And when they communicate with you, it's not the truth. It's not a true connection. And that's why they get irritated and angry easy. Because, just like me being a fake cheerleader, like, I'm so sick of this. Like, I hate it. I don't get to go to the games. Nothing's real about it. Doesn't matter. Okay, my dad called me that. Just like the narcissist, it's like, okay, I got a spouse who, like, we're supposed to love each other, and I can't stand all this stuff I have to give to my spouse. I thought I was purchasing somebody to take care of me, purchasing somebody to put as a trophy. That they start to get angry and they resent us. They resent us when we're doing everything right, or at least trying to. If we do one little thing wrong, that whole snowball of the devaluation, and it can come quick. They won't leave us until another supply comes by. It all depends on the payoff. What is important to them? The status, the relationship, because they want somebody to lay next to at night, somebody to take care of the kids. So different narcissists have different desires for what they want, what they think will give them the most supply. But if they're not getting enough supply and they find something that is easier and more exciting, they'll leave the situation, or they'll add on to the situation with somebody to cheat with, or they'll just start not upholding promises so they can go do whatever they want. If they want to go, I don't know, on a hunting trip for a month, and you're like, we can't do that because I need help with the kids, and they'll just say screw you, or they'll pick a fight and say they're moving out because they're so confident that you'll let them back, that they get their way, and they're used to getting their way, so they're not emotionally available. And it's kind of sad, because no matter how hard you try, they have that fortress built up, and they have that need for them to be the center of attention, good or bad. They just need attention. And thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, comment below. See you in the next video. Have a good day.